This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, roll call. Marie Beshin, Board President.
Present.
Roberta Ernest, Board Vice President.
Here.
Marilyn Sorensen, Board Secretary.
Absent.
Becca Paulson, Treasurer.
Here.
Steve Dill, Director.
Absent.
Jennifer Ellswick, Director.
Present.
Cindy Evans, Director.
Here.
Thank you. Homeowner statement period. In-person speaker may speak for no more than 2 minutes. If attending virtually, please mute your audio. Please use the chat option for your questions. Comments should be addressed to concerns of the motion before the board takes formal action on an item under formal discussion on the table. Negative comments directed at residents, employees of the association, or board of directors will not be allowed. Robert's Rules of Order steps in handling a motion. 1, making a motion. 2, having someone second the motion. 3, stating the motion. 4, debating the motion. 5, putting the motion to a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have an approval for the, can I have a motion for the minutes for the December 12th?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from the December 12th, 2024 Board of Directors meeting.
Any comments or questions regarding the minutes from the December 12th meeting? Any comments or questions from the floor? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Financial report.
I move to accept the November 30, 2024 financials.
Second.
Do I have any comments or questions? Dawn, excuse me, Becca, do you have any comments on that, please?
I'll give the current cash balances as of November 30. Operating, $962,351. Reserve, $3,943,360. Activities, $276,804. Clubs, $155,775. Asset improvement, $1,150,193.
Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the floor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Committee reports. Finance Committee, Bill Powell, do you have something you would like to share?
The Finance Committee is meeting on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, or Wednesday of the month, although when we have a 5 Wednesday month like we do now, it's either going to be the 4th or the 5th. This happens to be the 5th. Depends on when I get most committee members together. The committee is currently beginning the budgeting process, although the recent computer failures probably has set us back a week or 2 from the schedule we were anticipating. Obviously, we'll make it up, but not exactly where I wanted to be. The committee is reviewing high dollar and high percent increase items. We've put a list together of those and looking if any of those can be mitigated in any ways, or at least we're aware of them so they're not a gotcha when we happen to do it. We did have an excess high water bill in November. We spent time investigating it. Turns out that it probably is partially legitimate because of the 2 major water leaks we had in 4-inch lines. Took a little time to find one of them and shut it off and such. Also, the meters had been changed out there, and the balance through the various meters was upset, and there is a penalty if you take too much through a single meter, and two of them were set almost to zero. So they're in the process of rebalancing the flow to us to give us a little savings there. We're going to be looking at the, in the current one, coming meeting, we're getting going on some things, but one of them we're reviewing is the current fee for the villas, and having some thoughts and comments on that in a later date.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Communications Committee. Sue?
This is a long way around for a short update. The first of the election buddy training was on the 16th, and it seemed to go well. I think what questions we got, we could answer. And any new questions, any new areas, we're pursuing those to make sure they're represented with an answer in the next training, which will be on the 28th. In addition, this board meeting took over the Communication Committee time slot of the third Tuesday of the month, so we'll be meeting after this. However, two of the committee members are sick, so at least those of us remaining will try and discuss a plan for manning the kiosks and helping the office with helping people to vote with Election Buddy. That's all I've got right now.
Thank you. Yeah, the crud seems to be going around, so people take care. Okay, new business. First on the agenda is the billiard club request. Do I have a motion on this?
I move to table the billiards club's request to recover 6 pool tables at a cost of $5,400. The reason to table this motion is because we are putting together a committee to research the club's reserve fund, and this motion would first go to that committee before it came to the board.
Second.
Any further discussion or comments from the board? Any discussion or comments from the floor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the motion regarding the pet club request.
I move to table the Pet Club's request to install a shade sail and pool at a cost of $13,794. The reason to table this request is the same reason as the billiards, that we are going to have a committee that will be looking at club's reserve fund, and it will go to that committee before it comes to the board.
Second.
Any comments or questions regarding from the board? Any comments or questions from the floor? Yes, come on.
I'm Jeff Walker, 1780. Did you guys see what all happened yesterday? Wasn't it cool? Wasn't it cool? Stopping everything. And that same thing here. You're just building more committees and things to bury stuff in when nothing gets done. So I would like to recommend everybody vote no on everything.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Greg Sherman, 1253, president of the Pet Club. I'm not sure why we would need a committee. I'm not sure why we would need a committee to go over something that I've got pretty well detailed out. If you guys just look at it, it's pretty plain. I'm asking for less money than you gave horseshoes. You know, we're offering $4,000 of our money. We're asking the association for $9,000, and it's a shade sale. So I followed your rules, okay, to have it in by what, January 28th or something like that. And so I don't know why you would table something like this. I mean, what is a committee? Who is the committee? Who is the committee?
This was discussed at the club's meeting that you went to. That is a new committee so that you, part of the clubs, can make the determination as how the club's money is spent before it is recommended to the board itself, so that the clubs have a say-so as how this money is spent on this before it is even brought to the board. It was discussed at that club's meeting that this committee would be.
What is the committee? Who is the committee?
Marie, if you might, I can address that. We're forming a committee. It will include 6 club members, and Thelma is in the process of picking those people right now. 2 from the smaller clubs that don't have a dedicated building, 2 from clubs that have dedicated rooms, and 2 from our what we consider open access clubs like tennis and horseshoes, shuffleboard. In addition, it will be the activities director, a board liaison, yet to be determined, and the treasurer of the board. The liaison and the activities directors will be non-voting, and that committee will vet all the requests that come in that were due actually January 15th and determine which items will be funded and set up a priority for funding.
I don't see where that's acceptable. I don't understand why a committee would know better than the people that actually utilize the park. So you can have a committee come up, they have no idea. They have no idea if we need shade. They have no idea if we need a patio. So what is the committee going to do? Are they going to come up there and spend the afternoon with us? What are they going to do? You see, I have a group of 100 people, and 100 people have donated their money. They donated their money so that we could do this. And now you're telling them that, well, is what we're going to do is we're going to have somebody else look at it that's not part of your club. That is insane. And you need to start with the committee. Our club can tell you exactly what we want and exactly what we need, and we have the funding to do it.
You don't have all the funding because you're asking the board of directors to help fund it. But
according to what your plan was. I followed your plan in the development guide that you gave us. I completely followed that plan. Now you put the plug on that and say you have to have a committee of people that don't know your park.
Not actually. So what happened is that there was the process of developing a committee that would help to funnel the clubs that are requesting money. There's also seed money that's going into that. It's called the Reserve Club Fund. So there will be money in there. So it will be up to that committee to help determine which items that are put in there are a priority for funding. And they will make a recommendation that still comes to the board. It is one more avenue, one more step to come in. It is something that has just happened, along with how we've been trying to get all the clubs to get stuff in for budgets so that we're not having to close the door after the horse has gotten out of the barn, so to speak, so that we're not getting requests in October when the budget for that year has already been set. I understand your frustration.
That's why,
Greg,
well, that's why you gave us the date to turn it in by January 15th so that we could have it budgeted for next year. And now you're gonna change that and add a committee?
We have a committee.
Did you have a committee when you did the restaurant? Was there a committee for that?
Actually, there was a survey,
yes, there was.
and there were focus groups.
And who was on the committee for doing the restaurant?
The focus groups, I don't remember the names. I know Cindy was one. There were several other people, Barb Fugelberger. So there were focus groups. So yes. And there was a survey that went around that people suggested what they wanted. So
but there was no committee.
Focus group was considered a committee, yes.
And so you're going to change the name. So is what you're going to do is you're denying the pet club something that I followed the rules on, and that the people that donated their money, you're going to pull the plug on them.
You know, just because you've filed your request doesn't mean there's money available.
That's right.
We're
Well,
going through this
everybody
process
probably
because-
knows that. Now, so we asked for less money than horseshoes, okay? We asked for less money that was given to horseshoes. Pickleball got their new courts. Tennis got their new courts. We got a brand new restaurant that we get $1,000 a month for. I'm asking for a lousy $9,000 for an umbrella, and you're going to send that to a committee? You guys can just make a decision on this. Deny it if you want, but make a decision. This committee thing is silly. It's too many committees. We got people in here that are unelected officials that are running our resort, and that has to stop.
Okay. Okay. Right. It's over.
Mickey Aston, Lot 13, 40 years at Happy Trails. I remember something about a committee. The interest earned last year is going to fund the club asset, but I feel like the board is not communicating yet again. I'm going to go backwards to the billiard club. They've been over 2 years trying to get tables refinished, and it's an amenity that a group of people use. Now the Pet Club has raised funds to do something needed, and they're being denied today. I can feel the crowd not being happy with you guys. I feel like communication is zero. Who is going to be on the committee? The 2 people from this club, type of club, 2 from this type of club, 2 from that type. You said Thelma is choosing them. Thelma knows the clubs, but why can't people volunteer? Why can't it be more than 2 people? Why, if you're going to do a committee? I don't know why you're changing the process when Pet Club raises money. I'm guessing you're going to do it to the Stained Glass Club. I'm guessing you're going to do it to the landscape architect. That one's big money. I'm sad again with the lack of communication. It's big with me, and I feel like nobody knows that you're establishing a club group committee to do this.
Well, we've told, and we brought it up at the club thing. So there is communications, Mickey.
If you were at the club thing, you know about it. I saw nothing come out
in a
in a blast.
And we brought it up a number of times, so it's been communicated.
Well, obviously, I don't think the people who are here caring about this meeting know about the club committees. So I'm just saying I'm sad again for the
We hear
lack
you.
of communication from this board.
You know, we can't, it could be the same thing at the board. We could just turn it down and you'd be unhappy too. So there's only so much money, and whether we say no or whether the committee says no, it's the same. What's the difference? You're going to be unhappy with us no matter what. There's only, let's say, I'm going to pull up a number, $40,000. So there's 5 different requests, and at some point we have to say there's only so much money. We felt the reason for this committee was we felt that at least the clubs had a say-so in this, rather than just coming to the board and us saying, no, you can't do it, we run out of money. And then you guys yell at us. This is my 2 cents. This is Marie's 2 cents. You guys yell at us because we don't have an understanding, and we're saying no to the billiard tables or no to the pet club because you want a swimming pool down into the thing and this kind of stuff. And this way we said, you know what? Let the clubs have their 2 cents. It's club money. It's the clubs coming to us for their money. So let them have 2 cents. Let them say, hey, you know what? We're here at the pet club. We're here at the billiards tables. We're here at the ping pong table or whatever. And let them have 2 cents and then come and give us their 2 cents and we'll say, okay, yeah, you made the decision. You come and give us your 2 cents and then we'll say yes. So that's the reason why I came up with the idea.
I'm still on my 2 minutes, Dave. When is this committee expected to be formed?
I beg your pardon?
When is the committee going to be formed?
It's in the process right now.
So.
Activities is in the process. I gave it to activities. It's her bailiwick. Clubs are her bailiwick.
I understand that. Thelma's always helped with the clubs. What can the clubs, Pet Club, because they're the one that's on the table right now, when can they expect an answer to their request for money? Is it going to happen before we go home for the summer, leave for the summer, before it gets to be 110 degrees, 120 degrees is what I'm getting at?
I don't have the answer to that.
So we don't
One
have-
thing I can tell you right now, it needs to go to BG&M because they want to dig a hole in the ground for their pool, and that's a BG&M. And the same thing with the umbrella because it wants to be, and we're talking wind, so it really is a BG&M thing.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be digging holes in the ground. That's.
It still has to go through BG&M, whether it's a company that's building it, whether it's a company that's building it or not. This is going on. That's why we have BG&M. Obviously, you do not understand the process. This is over. Call for the vote.
Wait, there's somebody behind me asking a.
Let's call for the vote.
Aye.
It's okay. It's
Aye.
okay.
Aye. We're moving on.
Hi, Lily Atkinson, lot 1716. This is not for you. Shame on all of you. This place should be packed. You want something done, come in with everyone. People is power. You can't attack them. They're trying their damnedest to do what they can. So back off. You're bashing and you're I'm shaming everyone in Happy Trails. Shame on Happy Trails.
Okay,
John Wilkie, 2209. For those board members that are leaving, good riddance. For the board members that remain, buckle up and get ready for a recall.
That's unacceptable, John.
Carlene Smith, 767. I just have two questions. When the Finance Committee came up and relayed what amount of money was in all the different areas, what's the difference between asset improvement and the club money? What's the difference and how are we using those?
Club funds, that money there is taken from club reports.
Correct.
Their financial reports, that's their money. Asset improvement is the funding that we charge new owners when they buy in. It's 12 times our HOA fee that we pay every month.
I do know that, but what can we subtract from those? Like the asset improvement, if we're wanting to improve something like the billiard tables, why can't some funds be taken from the asset improvement?
That is used for major projects. We used it for Chuck Wagon. We've used it to refurbish the pool areas, and we are using it for landscaping at this point. Those projects, yes, those projects have been approved for those items. They have to come as individual projects.
Okay, and the club funds, who gets to?
Those are all the club funds added together. They're individual club monies. It doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about here. The interest on the asset improvement, that for last year was about $42,000. That money is being deposited in the club reserve fund. Has not been moved yet. That club reserve money is what can be used to help fund some of these projects that we're talking about.
That's my question. So why can't that be submitted to come from some of the club funds?
That's what the process is that we're discussing.
Formulating the rules as we speak.
Okay, we're moving on. The next motion, please.
I move to table the Stained Glass Club's request for the purchase and installation of an additional kiln in the amount of $13,560.
Second.
Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the floor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carried. Next motion.
I move to approve the Landscape Committee's proposal from G.K. Flanagan Associates for the landscape architectural design of Happy Trails Master Plan in the amount of $39,760 to be paid out of the Asset Improvement Fund.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments from the board?
If I would like Vicki, who is the chair of the Landscape Committee, to come up and to speak for a few minutes about what she has done as far as getting this architect to come to the resort. Vicki, if you could, please.
Jennifer, can you state that you combined the two motions? Please.
That's hot. Well, I got a hard act to follow here. I've worked, and my committee has worked since July at our inception to get quite a bit done, I feel, in Happy Trails. We got the new landscape design done for the monument. We got it also included going from Bell to the guard shack, and I think it really is an improvement. And we would like to carry that on throughout the resort. We hired G.K. Flanagan and Associates after meeting with several others, 2 others actually, and they were more interested in our resort than the other ones seemed to be. They're a smaller firm. They've already spent a lot of time coming out, meeting with me and Marge. Marge went through all the site plans and with them so that we could find out, where the irrigation lines were, where the lines were for our resort from Jason's. And Steve also found that we own over across from the gazebo another 12 feet that we can use to put trees in or put a buffer in so that their water doesn't come down and disturb our roadway. They've worked with us many hours already, and I feel that they've submitted a very fair bid for what they're going to do. They're going to give us 3 concepts for the whole resort, and it's going to be done in phases. Then we'll do those, we'll bid those out, and hopefully implement them and start that maybe this summer if all goes according to plan. So, does anybody have any questions?
There's part of this is in the town center and the pond or pool or whatever we call that water feature. Is that correct?
Right,
Yes.
right. The water feature for the fountain, that they also will give us an idea of if the board or the resort wants to spend money to run water and electricity there, or whether they want to fill it in. Our choice is to spend the money to have an oasis there with water, more trees, and kind of like a garden meditation area that'll be quiet and nice in the middle of our resort.
Vicki, how soon do you expect these, if this is approved, how soon do you expect these drawings to be done?
Well, we're hoping that once we get the contract signed after this meeting, I've talked to them and they're all ready to go with getting our concepts done. So hopefully once the committee can agree on the concept, which they told us that it would probably be a give and take. We'll like a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, and then we'll come to a meeting and what we all think would look best. We're kind of going for a rustic Western theme to kind of play into our Happy Trails, thing that we got going on here. And so I'm hoping that maybe we can get some of the bids out, get them back and get started by summer. Hopefully with the median, we want to carry that all the way down to the dump area, also all the way along Roy Rogers area. Also the gazebo area. We'd like to put more trees in there because they've been taking them out and not replacing them. And the olive trees. I know everybody either loves them or hates them. Well, Justin and Greg, they said some of them could be saved, and a lot of resorts and a lot of companies pay a lot of money to have trees that size brought in as part of their architecture. And so we're real anxious to see what they come up with, because they've thrown some real good ideas at us when we were driving around in the stagecoach, and we're really excited to see what they come up with. And I'm sure that everybody else will be excited finally when we can get some of this implemented. And if you want to see the resort flourish, if anybody would like to join our committee, we would love to have them. You don't have to be a landscape expert. You just have to want to make our resort look more beautiful.
Any other questions from the board?
If I could just elaborate briefly, there's been a lot of discussion in the landscape committee about a design, and it has been talked about at board meeting and also in the committee, but it seems prudent that we have a landscape design for the entire resort. Even if we cannot implement it, the entire resort at one time because of funds, if we can implement, and the landscape committee has actually set out phases for implementation. But if we can get the entire design done, then we can implement as we have the funds to implement. So if something happens and we can't do it all in 2 years, maybe it'll take 3 years, we'll still have the plan and we're still going to be following the same plan versus trying to get somebody else to come in here and do another plan. So it's really important to get the entire plan there, and then we have a roadmap to move forward.
Any questions or comments from the floor?
Kathy Stark, 1405. You clarified a little bit of what I was wondering. This proposal is for the development of the plan, not the implementation of any part of the plan. And would you please repeat again the dollar value of what you're being asked to approve? What was the dollar value of the motion?
I'm sorry, it's $39,760.
Okay, those are the points I wanted clarified. Thank you very much.
Lisa Day, 1317. I'm going to piggyback off of what Kathy just asked. So we know it's $39,000 some odd dollars. I think a landscape architect is the right approach. My concern is more about the expense. We have a lot of expenses right now. Bill just mentioned today and in past, we've got a huge, huge water bill coming at us. There's been conversation about raising our dues again. And then I go back to the $525,000+ that was allocated earlier this year out of, I believe, the AI fund, if I'm correct. And that was for a combination of expenses to the chuck wagon, building grounds and maintenance, and the pool furniture, or whatever furniture was out in the town center area. So is that $39,700 coming out of that existing $500,000?
Yes.
Number one. Thank you, Becca. And number two, I've asked and asked and asked to see an actual budget. I know the amount of money was allocated for those 3 sections of funding, but where's the budget for those 3? When I look at the quarterlies that keep coming out, there's a pocket of money that's been spent here and a pocket here and a pocket here for those things, but I've never seen a budget for how much is going to be spent on the chuck wagon, how much is going to be spent on landscape for BG&M, and how much for the pool furniture. Granted, the total number we got, but where's the breakdown? Where's the budget?
The original plan was $100,000 for chuck wagon, $100,000 for the pool area and town center, and $100,000 for landscape.
So it wasn't 500,000 for those three, it was over 300?
We allocated up to 500,000, none of those items have gone on over their $100,000 allocation at this point.
Have you seen the year end? I mean, I look at the numbers in the chuck wagon, we're up to $70,000 last September 30th. And
Now
everybody,
those-
I'm still talking, and everybody else that I've spoken to that's worked on that with the chuck wagon has spent, there's another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 that's coming in. So
What
have
the
you
money
seen?
was allocated for was for improvements to the chuck wagon. The other was not included
Okay.
as getting it ready. We're talking flooring,
I understand.
painting, decorating, tables, all that was the $100,000.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate that. So 500,000 was allocated. We'll just call it 500. I think it's a little bit more than that, but 500 was allocated. How much for the chuck wagon out of that 500? How much for BG&M landscape? And how much for the furniture? Can you break that down
This
for me?
is what I said, 100,000 per area.
So what's the other
Up
200,000
to
for?
100,000.
So what's the other 200,000 for? You just said 500 total, and you just gave me
The
three
other
ones.
two is not allocated at this point. If something came up, something that we decided we really wanted to do, the money is there. But it has not been allocated anywhere. It may very well go right back to asset improvement.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure when you see the numbers for January, you're going to see that, and I'm not picking on the check wagon, I'm just saying that's been the largest expense out of that line item. So there's really not been a budget that says, okay, you have 100,000, but you're spending 180. So as long as the money's there, it's okay?
Your numbers are inaccurate. I can tell you
Okay.
that right now.
All right, well, I guess we'll see in another week. Thank you.
I haven't. I also you're conflicting two different funds here. The operating fund does not have any of that in it. That's the operating fund. This money is coming out of the asset improvement fund. That does not show up in those January numbers. That's the operating budget. So you're conflicting two different projects here and such. Plus I want to also comment that we're reviewing the numbers that were spent on the chuck wagon, and some of it, in fact, a fairly large part of it, is going to come out of reserve fund. Because when we see what was done, which we didn't know, exactly ahead of time, but we find that there are number items that are reserved, so they'll come out of reserve. So really far under that 100 was spent on the chuck wagon from asset improvement. Well, yeah, the money's spent, yes, but it is part of the reserve fund where items were at zero life. So we're pulling those out. I understand that, but I'm saying that not nearly a part of that, what we suggested was allocated, is all going to come out of there. It's going to come out of reserve also.
Thank you.
Mickey Aston, Lot 13. I'm going to get back to the landscape. I've never heard of a percentage of that 500,000 for the furniture, the landscape, and the chuck wagon being split up. It was always just a lump sum. I've asked multiple times who gets to spend how much, which group gets to spend how much, and it's never been clarified. So thanks for doing that. I do understand what Bill said. Some of the money is going to be coming out of operation. I understood what you said about the reserve fund because it had zero life, but the money is being spent right now. It's coming out of the bank. I thought it was coming out of an operations fund.
And it's out of asset improvement.
Asset improvement, okay. But I thought someone just said, I'll go back and listen to the recording. I thought someone just said it came out of operations, so. Okay, I'm just trying to keep it clean too, clear. Have we had a past, back to the landscape? And I appreciate this committee, the landscape committee, I think started with 7 people. I think they're down to 3 now. So they've done a lot of work with the people they've had. Was there a past plan provided to the resort for landscaping, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that took us from the front gate up to the town center area?
It was many more years than 3, because it was long before my time,
Okay,
2019.
okay, so 5 years ago. And that was a master plan for the entire community?
No,
No?
it was
Okay.
just down the meridian.
So this one is going to be a master plan for the entire community. I think you said 39,000. Does that include the water fountain in the
Yes,
town
it
center?
does.
Okay, because that's the second line item on your agenda. So I didn't know if it was included in that 39. Will GK Flanagan be providing construction administration through the implementation of the entire plan? So only if we pay them extra. But once they give us, sorry, you're not on mic, so it won't be on the recording. So if they give us this plan and we pay them the 39,000, we're on our own. We implement it in however many phases over the course of 3 to 5 years.
Yes, yes and no, okay? They will give us the plan. If we need help in getting contractors to implement the plan, they have contractors that they work with. We do not have to choose them, but they would help us find contractors if we needed that help. If we had questions about the plan, they would be willing to meet with us at an hourly rate to discuss any questions we might have. But they are going to give us CAD drawings. We are going to have very specific, there's going to be CAD drawings. There's going to be, we recommend planting this here, we recommend a rock here. It's going to be a very specific and detailed plan. It would be surprising if we would have questions after the fact. But, so the answer to your question is, we will have a complete plan, but yes, we will be responsible for the implementation. And if we need help getting contractors for the implementation, they do have relationships. Does that answer it?
Yes, that did. I do have one more question. In the committee meetings that Landscape has, which are public and open to everybody, and sometimes broadcast live, there's been some concern by the committee member that this committee will not be the committee in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, as this plan is being implemented, and that this master plan that's going to happen in 1 to 3 to 5 years will lose its effect and not be implemented. I also have that concern. I don't know if that's a question. It's just a concern. Thank you.
Okay, call for the
Marie, I'm sorry, one more thing. I didn't do this earlier and I tried to. Thank everybody. Thank you for coming today, and thank those who are watching online. I know you care. Thank you.
Donna Whedon, lot 83. I remember.
Put it up to your mouth.
Pardon?
Put it up to your mouth so we can hear you.
Okay. I remember several years ago, it might have been 5 years, it might have been longer. We had Moon Nursery come in with a master plan. They removed a lot of trees, they planted trees, and this was a master plan. And we paid a lot of money for that plan. Where is it? Why aren't we using it? Why are we getting another plan? And then in another 3 or 4 years, we'll need another plan because somebody doesn't like that plan. Aren't we spending money on money on money for the same thing? Let's go back to that first master plan.
If I can clarify some of the information, my name's Steve Farthing, lot 530. I used to be the board or the BG&M chair. I was the chair from about 2014 to 2019 when COVID hit. In 2018, the BG&M was requested by the board then to create a subcommittee called beautification. And out of that, there was 5 individuals that referred information back to the BG&M for further review to see if it was worthwhile doing. And from that, if the BG&M thought it was worthwhile, it was brought back to the board for approval. Number one, there was never a master plan. We had 2 really good individuals that were part of the BG&M that were arborists. They looked at some of the projects through the reserve to cover landscaping, and they went out on their own and looked at these items and made referral back to BG&M. And if the BG&M thought it was a good project, we brought it back to the board. And all of those projects that we thought were brought back to the board, and the board made the approvals. So that's how you ended up with Moon Valley coming in and removing trees and doing some beautification. So somewhere in the era of COVID, the beautification committee folded, and I applaud the board now for creating a landscape committee. There was never a master plan. I've sat through the landscape committees, and I really hope that the plans that they have will be approved. And my thought is that once if they're presented to the board will formally approve them as a master plan. And that will be the first master plan that Happy Trails has ever approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Greg Sherman, 1253. Who located the architect? Did the architect come from our property management company? Because that's where it should have come from. Or did we just open a phone book and pick one?
The architects came from the landscape committee doing research on finding landscape architects that would be willing to come and work with Happy Trails on a master plan.
All of our contractors, architects should be coming through HomeCo. These people, because they're dying to work for HomeCo, we will get the best contractors, we will get the best architects because they work for HomeCo, and HomeCo deals with this constantly. And so that's where these people, if we're opening the phone book, that's where we end up with a guy coming in and tearing our roof off and not being able to put it back on. These contractors, these architects should be coming from HomeCo. That's how it's done. It's not done by opening a phone book. HomeCo is the company that we hired to do this work, and we need to let them do their work.
So the committees can go out to look for architects or contractors to do work on projects that they are currently working on. It is my understanding that the landscape committee reached out to at least 3, if not more, architects, and they had them, all of them, come out here to look at the community. And they chose the one that they felt was best based on the information they received by that contractor. Am I not correct?
I can also address you, Greg, that I have spoken directly with HomeCo, with the owner of HomeCo, and they do not always have all the contracts, and they have as much difficulty in getting a hold of contracts and contractors as we do. I have reached out to them and had lunch with them and discussed the challenges that we have getting contractors, and asked them point blankly if they have a litany of contracts because of the variety and the number of other resorts that they deal with, and they do not. So it is not as simple as you make it sound. I'm going to call for the vote, please. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, it's roll call. I'm sorry.
Okay, roll call vote. Roberta Ernest?
Yes.
Marilyn is absent. Becca Paulson?
Yes.
Steve Deal is absent. Jennifer Ellswick?
Yes.
Cindy Evans?
Yes.
And Marie Beshan?
Yes,
Okay, motion is passed. Thank you.
thank you. That is all the motions. Next on the agenda is the reading of the CCNRs. As in the past, we will read the CCNRs as they are written. We will not do questions at this time because tomorrow will be our question and answer time. So that will be at 10 o'clock tomorrow here in the PAC.
Mickey Aston, Lot 13. Did we cover on the new business number 5?
Yes, it was combined with the proposal that we just approved.
We combined the two.
It was stated that it was combined, the two were combined.
So the 39,000 approximately combined both of them?
Correct.
Okay, because I
Yes.
heard a $4,000 proposal
No, no.
on the fountain separate.
No, they combined the two.
We combined the
Okay,
fountain.
I
and the
did
two.
not hear that. Thank you.
Okay. Ready.
Okay. Changes to bylaws and CCNRs. Note, all administrative, grammar, spelling, renumbering, and state statute requirements will be automatically updated upon completion of the vote. Bylaw changes. Article 2, Section 2, meetings. From, meetings of owners shall be held at the principal place of business of the corporation or at such other convenient place as may be designated by the Board of Directors. Annual meetings of the owners shall be held on the third Tuesday in February in each year, beginning at 7 p.m. or at such other time as the board may select in its own discretion. 2, meetings of the owners shall be held at the principal place of business of the corporation or at such other convenient place as may be designated by the Board of Directors. Annual meetings of the owners shall be held on the third Tuesday in April each year, beginning at 1 p.m. or at such other time as the board may at its own discretion, may select at its own discretion. The annual meeting agenda only includes approval of prior year minutes, President's annual report, Treasurer's annual report, and the formal introduction of board directors for the next fiscal year. No other business is conducted. Special meetings of the owners may be called by the president or by a majority of the directors or by owners having at least 2/5 of the votes entitled to be cast at such meeting. The notice of any special meeting shall state the time and place of such meeting and the purpose thereof. Note, aligns with new fiscal year. The association's fiscal year end was changed from April to June, so the annual meeting is being moved back 2 months as well, from February to April.
Article 3, Section 2, qualification of candidates seeking election to the board. Add, in order to be eligible for election to the board, candidates must be members of the association, and each candidate must have been a member of the association for at least 1 year before being eligible for election. In addition, each candidate must be in good standing with the association, which means the candidate must not have any open violations of the association's governing documents on his or her account and must not be delinquent in any amounts due to the association. Note, this is a new section in the bylaws. It provides requirements for board candidates.
Article 3, Section 3, Director Qualifications. From, each director shall be an owner or the spouse of an owner, or if an owner is a corporation, partnership, or trust, a director may be an officer, partner, or beneficiary of such owner. If a director shall cease to meet such qualifications during his term, he will thereupon cease to be a director, and his place on the board shall be deemed vacant. 2, each director shall be an owner or the spouse of an owner, or if an owner is a corporation, partnership, or trust, a director may be an officer, partner, or beneficiary of such owner. Directors must be and remain in good standing with the association. If a director shall cease to meet such qualifications during his term, he will thereupon cease to be a director, and his place on the board shall be deemed vacant. Note, provides updated requirements for board directors.
Covenants, conditions, and restriction changes. Overall changes throughout the document, from residence vehicle to manufactured HUD and recreational vehicle. 1.119, add manufactured home. Change from 1.30 residence vehicle to 1.19 manufactured home. From manufactured HUD home means those vehicles, residences, including but not limited to recreational vehicles, snuggle wides, double wides, park models, and mobile homes that are. 2, manufactured home means all manufactured homes such as villas, snuggle wide homes, and single and double wide homes. These homes may have an affidavit of a fixture. 1.30, remove residence vehicle. 1.31, add recreational vehicle. Okay, excuse me. 1.31, recreational vehicle. From recreational vehicle means a vehicular type unit primarily designed as temporary living quarters for recreational, camping, or travel use, which is not designed for permanent residence or commercial purposes, and is more fully defined in the rules and regulations of the association. 2, recreational vehicles means a recreational vehicle, RV, that is either towed behind or motorized, that includes living quarters designed for accommodation and has a vehicle identification number, VIN. It can be used for recreation, camping, or travel use. Types of RVs include motorhomes, camper vans, fifth wheels, travel trailers, park models, etc. Note, more clearly defines manufactured home and recreational vehicle.
Section 3, Association. 3.16, Funds of the Association. From funds of the association from any source other than small amounts for petty cash or similar purposes shall be kept on deposit in federally insured financial institutions and fully insured accounts. 2, funds of the association from any source other than small amounts for petty cash or similar purposes shall be kept on deposit in federally insured financial institutions and fully insured accounts, with the option of no more than 25% of excess funds to be invested in other guaranteed and or secured investment vehicles, treasuries, bonds, annuities. Note, alternative investment vehicles would only be used when normal federally insured investments offer little or no return on investment. The examples given have guaranteed return rates but are not FDIC insured. This change gives the board some flexibility when normal CD and savings interest rates are very low.
Section 5, assessments. Creation of lien and personal obligation. From each owner by acceptance of a deed or other conveyance of an interest in a lot or by acceptance of his membership is deemed to covenant and agree to pay the association regular assessments, special assessments, pass-through assessments, capital improvement assessments, and reconstruction assessments if applicable. Such assessments to be established and collected from time to time as provided in this declaration. the assessments, together with interest thereon, late charges, attorney's fees, and court costs, and other costs of collection thereof, as hereinafter provided, shall be a continuing lien upon such owner's lot, but not against any resident's vehicle located thereon, against which the assessments are made. Each assessment, together with such interest and other costs, shall also be the personal obligation of the owner to whom such assessment relates. The personal obligation for delinquent payments shall not pass to an owner's successor unless expressly assumed by him. The obligation of all persons who collectively are the owner of the lot to which such assessment relates for the amount of the assessment shall be joint and several. 2. Each owner, by acceptance of a deed or other conveyance of an interest in a lot, or by acceptance of his membership, is deemed to covenant and agree to pay the association regular assessments, special assessments, pass-through assessments, capital improvement assessments, and reconstruction assessments, if applicable. Such assessments to be established and collected from time to time as provided in this declaration. The assessments, together with interest thereon, late charges, attorney fees, court costs, and other costs of collection thereof, as hereinafter provided, shall be a continuing lien upon such owner's lot, but not against any recreational vehicle or manufactured home without an affidavit of affixture located thereon, against which the assessments are made. Each assessment, together with such interest and other costs, shall also be the personal obligation of the owner to whom such assessment relates. The personal obligation for delinquent payments shall not pass to an owner's successor unless expressly assumed by him. The obligation of all persons who collectively are the owner of the lots to which such assessment relates for the payment of assessments shall be joint and several. Note, this was changed to reflect the change from residence vehicle to recreational vehicle or manufactured home and defines what is covered.
5.2, Purpose of Assessments. From, the assessments levied by the association shall be used to promote recreation, health, safety, and welfare of the owners, to enhance the quality of life within the property, to preserve the value of the property, to pay the costs of administration of the association and all common expenses, to cover the costs of mail sorting, pickup, and delivery service to owners and lot owners and occupants, or to otherwise further the interests of the association. Where a lot has separate gas, electrical, sewer, or other similar utilities service, the cost of same shall be the personal obligation of each owner and shall not be included in the regular assessments. Instead, the costs incurred by the association in providing stormwater and sewer services to a lot shall be levied as pass-through assessments pursuant to section 5.5 below. Maintenance of sewer lines serving a single lot shall be the responsibility of the owner owning such lot. 2. The assessments levied by the association shall be used to promote the recreation, health, safety, and welfare of the owners, to enhance the quality of life within the property, to preserve the value of the property, to pay the cost of administration of the association and all common expenses, or to otherwise further the interests of the association. Where a lot has a separate gas, electrical, sewer, or other similar utilities service, the cost of the same shall be the personal obligation of each owner and shall not be included in the regular assessments. Maintenance of sewer lines serving a single lot shall be the responsibility of the owner owning such lot. Note, removes to cover costs of mail sorting, pickup, and delivery services, which are included in common expenses and do not need to be listed separately. Removes requirement to charge a pass-through assessment for stormwater and sewer services. These charges will become part of the regular assessment.
Pass-through assessments. From pass-through assessments shall be levied by the association against an owner and his lot to reimburse the association for costs incurred by the association. Pass-through assessments include costs incurred by the association in providing stormwater and sewer services to the owner's lot and may include other such charges that meet the criteria as stated in section 1.4.5, pass-through assessments. 2, pass-through assessments shall be levied by the association against an owner and his lot to reimburse the association for costs incurred by the association in providing services to the owner's lot and may include other such charges that the board, in its discretion, determines should be categorized as pass-through assessments, including but not limited to costs that meet the criteria set forth in section 1.45.5, pass-through assessments. Note, removes requirement for stormwater and sewer costs to be levied as pass-through assessments. No new pass-through assessments are being considered.
9.1, owner's responsibility. From, each owner shall furnish and be responsible for, at his own expense, all of the maintenance, repairs, and replacements within his own lot, including without limitation any landscaping and residence vehicle, Arizona room, or villa thereon, necessary or appropriate to keep his lot and any improvements thereto or thereon in good condition and repair, and in a pleasing appearance consistent with the requirements hereof and of the design guidelines. Any residence vehicle or recreational vehicle placed on a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in roadworthy, like new condition. Any Arizona room or villa located upon a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in thoroughly excellent, like new condition. 2, each owner shall furnish and be responsible for, at his own expense, all of the maintenance, repairs, and replacements within his own lot, including without limitation any landscaping and recreational vehicle, Arizona room, or manufactured home thereon, necessary or appropriate to keep his lot and any improvements thereto or thereon in good condition and repair and in a pleasing appearance consistent with the requirements hereof and of the design guidelines. Any manufactured home or recreational vehicle placed on a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in like new roadworthy motorized vehicles condition. Any Arizona room located upon a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in thoroughly excellent like new condition. Note, replaces residence vehicle with new definitions for housing units, recreational vehicle, and manufactured home, and provides insight to roadworthy.
(10.1) Appointment of Design Review Committee. From, the association shall have a design review committee consisting of not less than 3 nor more than 5 persons, as specified from time to time in the design guidelines by resolution of the board members. Members of the Design Review Committee shall be appointed by the board. Persons appointed to the Design Review Committee must be owners or satisfy such other requirements as may be set forth in the design guidelines. 2, the association shall have a design review committee consisting of not less than 3 nor more than 7 persons as specified from time to time in the design guidelines by resolution of the board. Members of the design review committee shall be appointed by the board. Persons appointed to the design review committee must be owners or satisfy such other requirements as may be set forth in the design guidelines. The Board of Directors liaison will be the chairman and a voting member of the Design Review Committee per Arizona State Statute 33-1817B, parentheses 1. Note, aligns number of committee members with all other committees within the association. Explains the requirement of the Board of Directors liaison to be the chairman of the committee per Arizona State statute.
Section 11, use and occupancy restrictions. 11.9, vehicles. From, no boats or trailers shall be parked or stored on the property except in designated storage areas and temporarily on private roads for ingress and egress and for loading or unloading as provided in association rules. No motor vehicles, including without limitation motorbikes and cycles, may be operated on the property by anyone other than a property licensed operator, and any such vehicle must satisfy in all respects the requirements of governmental authorities for operation on public streets. Any golf cart to be operated by any owner, guest, or occupant on the property must be electric. 2. No boats or trailers shall be parked or stored on the property except in designated storage areas and temporarily on private roads for ingress and egress and for loading or unloading as provided in association rules. No motor vehicles, including without limitation motorbikes and cycles, may be operated on the property by anyone other than a properly licensed operator, and any such vehicle must satisfy in all respects the requirements of governmental authorities for operation on public streets. Golf carts may only be operated by a licensed driver. Motor-driven bikes or cycles may only be operated by adults in accordance with all applicable laws and ordinances and must be appropriately lighted if operated at night. Note, allows for street legal golf carts and states the requirement for a licensed driver per state statute.
11.10, parking. From, no residence vehicles or other vehicle of any type shall be repaired or rebuilt, including oil changes or engine repairs, on any lot upon the common areas, and no vehicle of any type shall be parked on the private streets or any portion of the common areas except in such parking areas as may be designated by the association. The association may remove or cause to be removed any unauthorized vehicle at the expense of the owner thereof in any manner consistent with applicable law. Recreational vehicles and other vehicles may be parked temporarily on private roads for ingress and egress and for loading and unloading as provided in the association rules. One or more storage areas for recreational vehicles, boats, and motor vehicles may be made available on or in the vicinity of the property by developer, declarant, and/or the association at reasonable cost to owners. No more than one recreational vehicle may be parked on a lot at any time. 2. No vehicle of any type shall be repaired or rebuilt, including oil changes or engine repairs, on any lot or upon the common areas, and no vehicle of any type shall be parked on private streets or any portion of the common areas except in such parking areas as may be designated by the association. The association may remove or cause to be removed any unauthorized vehicle at the expense of the owner thereof